Hey, what's up, you guys? Jeff Cohn here with another episode of the Team Building Podcast, where we interview top team leaders, broker owners, and thought leaders across the country. Today, I have a very special guest in studio, Mr. Ben Mathis. Ben is the CEO of kwElite in Nebraska. Ben, welcome to the studio. Welcome to the show. He also offices here, so he's pretty used to being around here.
Makes it pretty easy. Thanks for having me.
100%. Thanks for being here. Ben and I go back to Berkshire days. And while we were both at Berkshire, I was running Omaha's Elite Real Estate Group. Ben started a really successful team called 180 Group. And so I wanted to bring him on today to talk about the 180 Group growth, which obviously just started with Ben and a few others and expanded into how many agents?
26 agents and 5 admin.
And you guys did that pretty fast.
In about 3 years time span.
Okay. So let's talk a little bit about maybe some of the foundational pieces to that. A lot of our listeners, of course, have real estate teams or are aspiring to build real estate teams. And of course, everyone is at whatever point you're at going into 2024, but most people want to grow. And I know we're just either coming off the boot camp or we have a boot camp in a week or so, which is recruit, train, and retain. And I think, Ben, you were probably one of the best I've seen is as far as recruiting. You guys attracted talent and trained that talent, and then of course retained a lot of your talent.
Yeah, I guess after attending some of your seminars you used to throw on back in the old days, kind of get your brain thinking. You know, you're successful at what you do, you're successful at sales, being a solo agent, and just kind of opens up the idea of maybe I can do this as a team leader. A lot of times people put that up on a pedestal and they think that's not for me or that's out of my comfort zone. So I think one thing I learned by doing it is you're getting out of your comfort zone. You're learning a lot of new things, and you're going to find a way somehow, some way. So when we did that, we used a lot of the systems and structures that you taught about. And we actually participated as an ERS client once you had moved brokerages and we were still at that brokerage, and continued to use that accountability for all the agents to add a really good retain piece to that. Because recruiting can come easy for some people, retaining can come easy for some people, but if you don't have both, it makes it really hard to be successful.
You're not going to grow unless you can put it all together. Ben started off and was on one of the top teams in the country at Berkshire, not mine, unfortunately, but he did a really great job within that environment. So if you are someone listening that's on a team and you've always thought about, you know, what would it look like if you made the jump, that's a scary moment for someone, you know, backing up to those days of like, am I going to be as successful as I am now? How did you navigate that, and what made you finally make that decision to go off and start your own business?
Well, I definitely think there's a comfort blanket being on that team, being provided leads, being provided support. All of your bills are paid for. You just get a paycheck.
It's fun.
It's fun.
All your best friends.
And I think the one key moment that came for me was I was doing maybe $4 or $5 million in lead gen, and that was what the team was providing me. But then when I looked at the other side of the amount of transactions I was doing by myself, and I looked at that and said, if I do that at 100% split versus, you know, say the 60% split you're getting being on a team, that's when the teeter-totter happened. And I realized if I go do this, even if I don't do well at it and I just do what I'm normally doing, I'm still going to make the same amount of income, and I can only grow from there.
Yeah, I love it. And it's funny because at the time, Ben was at the same brokerage I was at when I built out Omaha's Elite Real Estate Group, and it was a Berkshire franchise, and they kept 6% of every transaction, no cap. I think I've heard rumors that today they'll match similar platforms that offers that we make to keep agents or retain agents. But if you're at a brokerage right now that is keeping X% of every transaction and it never caps out, I highly recommend that you consider either negotiating with that brokerage to see if you can build in a cap, or go out and see what other options there are, like at a Keller Williams or an EXP or a Real, and see where you can put yourself in the best financial situation. You always have to match that 6%. You add that up over a year's time of hundreds of transactions. For us, we had spent like $400,000 net. We would have netted an additional 400 had we been in a model that was more of a capping model. And I would have been fine with that if the brokerage I was at offered me that much in value. But I think any brokerage would have a hard time offering someone $400,000 in value.
And that's truly what kind of was the turning point for us, looking at the forecast for 2021 numbers. We were looking at around 250,000 just in royalties and office fees. And by making the jump over to KW, I could part ways with that money both through the agents. So I looked at it basically like the agents would receive about 10,000 more per agent, and the average agent on my team was making 80,000. So if you have a $10,000 increase, that's a pretty good increase for their income.
Yep.
You know,
It's funny, a lot of brokerages, and this isn't just me picking on Berkshire across the street, but they would call their comp plan 100% plan. And you're only 100% plan if you keep 100% of your revenue. And they never were a 100% plan. They were a 94.6 plan. So if you've been told by your brokerage you're a 100% plan, if a commission comes in and it's $1,000, you should keep $1,000. If you're not, then you're not under the 100% plan. So something for everybody to kind of chew on. At KW in Nebraska, everyone always asks this when we talk on these topics. One of the things that was really important to us was that we ran 3 models when it came to commission splits. The dependent model, the interdependent model, and the independent model. We attracted a lot of talent early on with the independent model, and that's where someone would just pay us $41.66 a month. It ended up being $50,000 a year, and they could grow their team as big as they wanted and keep all the commission. So they just paid us $41.66. That was our cap, and that was a huge win. When I thought about if I just paid a brokerage $50,000 a year after paying $400,000 to Berkshire, I thought we would attract a lot of teams, and we were surprised, Ben included, how few of teams chose to take advantage of that incredible cap structure and are still at Berkshire, giving them hundreds of thousands of dollars a year.
yeah, it's one of those things when you look back at it and you say, I mean, anytime you look at your bank account and you see X amount of dollars and knowing that there could have been an extra 20 or 50 or, whatever the number be, it's surreal.
It's disappointing to me when you think about leadership. True leaders serve their followers by empowering them to be just like them. And for me, it wasn't greed of wanting to keep more than the 400 I was giving out to that brokerage. For me, it was putting my agents in a commission structure where they could be able to net more so they could live and lead the life of their dreams. And so as people listen to this, you might say, well, I'm good friends with the owner. Well, is this benefiting just you, or is it also benefiting all of the people in your world? So our independent model was 41.66. Our interdependent today is 10.80. And that actually is because of how we structured Ben's team when they chose to come over and join KW. And then our dependent model is an area where we're going to talk here in a couple minutes on the podcast about a team that we recruit to inside of the brokerage that we own. And so the only way you can really truly be successful running a brokerage when you have less than 100 agents is by owning a real estate team inside of it. But let's go back to 180 Group for a little bit. I know everyone always gives us accolades of learning so much from us. Was there anything you implemented that we taught that just didn't land well for your team? And or what areas of success did you feel like you had that wasn't directly tied to the content that ERS had trained you?
I think the one thing I can look back and say was super successful is, like you said, watching the agents below you grow, get out of their comfort zone. A great example is Callie. She's an agent at our office now.
She's awesome.
And she has branched off to start her own team. She's added 5 or 6 agents in 6 months, but she's always participating in the training that we offer 3-4 days a week. She's always trying to tie in any system and strategy that we're talking about, and she's seeing success from it. So I think just seeing the people that have been in my world and supported me, and then I've let them get out of their comfort zone and they're finally doing it and they're seeing the success. Because I'm sure they went through the same things you and I went when we were individual agents and saying, hey, should I do this? Should I not? Jump off the cliff, just do it.
Yep, love it. Every Thursday, Ben participated in our high-level group team coaching platform. We still offer that every Thursday from 11:15 Central to 12:15 Central. It's usually 30 to 45 minutes of content delivered by either myself or our partner, Andy, and then it's about 15 to 30 minutes of Q&A. But in addition to that, for all of the agents on anyone's team that joins our team leader coaching platform, all the agents can attend the Monday and Wednesday agent training. And so every Monday from 11:15 to 12:15, it's the same platform, 30 to 45 minutes, and then some Q&A. And that's usually a topic like listing presentation, negotiating, all of the topics that help agents be successful. And then every Wednesday from 11:15 to 12:15 Central, it's the dialogue training that goes along with the topic from Monday. So if we talk listing pres on Monday, that's more contextually how should you conduct a listing presentation. And then Wednesday, it's overcoming objections that might be faced at a listing presentation. We also offer investor training every Tuesday, mortgage training, and insurance training for anyone aspiring to build those verticals. So all of that you can get for less than $1,000 a month. So if anyone has questions on that or would like to learn more information about that, go out to growwithers.com and you can schedule a call today. All right, well, let's change gears a little bit. Ben, you came over to KW. You brought 180 Group. 180 Group, actually, you invited them to launch their own team so that you could go into the leadership role of CEO. We now have around 60 agents at KW. It's not our intent to grow, into the hundreds like some of the other brokerages. We have all of the ancillary businesses that we've incubated here that we've scaled nationally. Our office is the hybrid tech-powered office of the future that hosts all of the headquarters for both elite real estate systems and our mortgage arm, title arm, insurance arm, investment arm, etc. And so I know it's our number one goal for running the brokerage and having a team here to just simply be at the forefront of everything when it comes to CRMs, lead gen, lead conversion best practices, and anything else. And so let's talk a little bit about the direction we think teams should go to survive the current climate that we're seeing out there.
Yeah, obviously we're lucky to have that in-house team in the same building as ERS. Our goal for the in-house team is to run a dependent model to allow agents to come into our world and have the support system from the success managers, have the lead generation from our partnership with Aksarben Mortgage, have the accountability once a week, just somebody to keep them focused on the goal and allowing them to do what they do best. With the market changing, I think it's more important than ever to have those things as backbone. I remember back in the day, and I don't know if you still talk about it to this day, but it was a third.
Yep.
And so it's very important to create that base, because a lot of people, they create the base when they start and then they kind of get tired and overwhelmed with doing lead gen. Mm-hmm. But if you create that and you continue to build it, it's only going to make your pyramid taller.
Sure. I love it. I'm glad you brought that up. And it's interesting, that power of threes. It comes in several forms. So the third, and a third that Ben's referencing is where your lead should come from. So most agents in their first year, it's 2/3 come from internet leads that you provide to them, and 1/3 comes from their sphere of influence, SOI, and their outbound prospecting efforts like an open house or door knocking or cold calling. But most agents that run a really healthy business, it's usually a third, and a third, where a third of your deals are coming from each of those buckets, until your sphere grows enough where 2/3 of your deals are sphere and a third come from the other two buckets. And at that point, Ben and I both have had the abundant mindset to help people go and launch their own team to help other people go and start that third and a third process. The other third and a third that I'd like to speak to, since this is the team building podcast, is that typically in real estate companies, a third of the people are going to be your rainmakers, a third are going to be mid-grade, and a third are going to be new. And so like when you look at where your revenue is coming from, another way of saying it is a third are dependent, a third are interdependent, and a third are independent. And you have to decide what kind of a team or brokerage you want to offer. Our brokerage supports all three of those, but the team we've launched, Aksarben's Elite Real Estate Group, Aksarben, by the way, is Nebraska spelled backwards. Previously, we were Omaha's Elite. That's the flagship team, but Omaha had the name Omaha, and we sell lots of houses other places across the state, so we decided to go with the Aksarben name. Let's talk really quickly about the compensation plan for agents that choose to join Aksarben's Elite Real Estate Group, because I know right now more than ever, like I just talked about earlier today, there's all these brokerages offering all these amazing splits and maybe not as much value. So let's talk about what we're offering and then the value that we have to back that up.
Yeah, so each agent will start out at a 50% split.
That's on everything? There's sphere and leads we generate?
Sphere and leads. And then everything will increase every 6 transactions by 5% till they've capped at 70%, and that includes leads. So as an agent gets further in the season and they're continuing to service those leads, they're going to get paid a higher percentage for those leads, which I think is probably the reason why a lot of people get burnt out with leads, is because they stay at the same low 50% rate or sometimes even less. And it makes it less enticing to go after when I can go after my friend for 70% or more,
So once they've done 24 deals in a calendar year, they're going to get to keep 70-30 on internet leads.
Yep, they'll cap it at 70-30 for all leads, internet or sphere, which we find to be a very intriguing number because when we ran the math here in Omaha with our average sales price, that would generate the agent $100,000, and we provided a
If
third
they
of
do
it.
24 transactions, they'll make 100,000. And do you know the numbers on how much you'll actually keep if they are able to hit that 24 unit count?
How much we'll be able to
Yeah,
keep?
how much Aksarben's Elite gets to make?
$72,000.
Okay, so
Yep.
perfect. And there's the number. And so Ben and I, as we came up with this model, we were looking at 180 Group and looking at Omaha's Elite Real Estate Group. And at the time, Ben, I think you shared, I don't know if we can share, are you okay publicly talking
Sure.
about? Okay.
Whatever.
The 180 Group would net around $30,000 per agent. Omaha's Elite used to keep around $20,000 per agent. The traditional brokerage right now is probably keeping less than $5,000 a year. I said month. $5,000 a year, and the other numbers were per year. And so we were just kind of looking at a number where, like, how do we make sure the agent gets paid and makes the money they've always dreamed of? And I love that the way we scaled that up. An agent doing 24 deals, which in Omaha, anyone working 30 hours a week should be making selling at least 24 units. They're going to make six figures. We still get to make a big chunk of money out of that, but we offer insane value. So let's talk today about the value. Let's spend the rest of our time on this episode talking about the value, because that is what everyone's looking for. I know agents want community. They want culture. They want congratulated. They want medals. They want posts on social. And it's funny, I'll admit one of our biggest faults, if anyone thinks podcasts are all about bragging, I'll share my biggest weakness or our biggest failure was to assume that agents are entrepreneurial. A lot of the people that we recruited here were not entrepreneurial, chose to leave, not because they'd net more money by leaving, but a lot of it was ego-based when they chose to leave or if they chose not to come. And so we really wanted to create a model that we felt was going to retain, like we talked about at the beginning of this episode. So share a little bit, I guess, around why would someone be willing to give up 50-50 and then go 55-45 and 60-40, so on.
Well, I can tell you, I ran a one-man show with 180 Group. Running a one-man show has never grown to be successful.
What do you mean by one-man show?
You know, I was the only guy, right? I was the only one building it up. It was until I had my first hire that you realize, okay, now I can put all the topics that I don't or I'm not good at. I can put those on somebody else that is good at and create more value for the team. And so I think part of growing this internal team is leaning on ERS, right? So ERS has the success managers and they have the lead gen. So using those to, you know, even if you were a powered by client and you were paying $5,000 a month to be one, you're still going to see $67,000 in profit just from one agent, right? So, like, you know, a lot of times people get stuck on that number of what am I paying, but it's actually should be the opposite way and looking at what am I still keeping or what am I receiving from that.
I love it. And Ben's mentioning Powered By, which we haven't talked a lot yet around Powered By. I've hinted at it. And so if you're hearing this for the first time, Powered By is ultimately the greatest value elite real estate systems can provide to our audience members. So if you get on our website and you look at all the different options for the platforms that we offer, we have the group coaching like I talked about before, which we just call team leader coaching. And then we offer one-on-one coaching for anyone that's already a team leader client. And then the highest level is the Powered By platform, and the Powered By offers everything. It's really like a do it for you out of the box company that not only will help lead gen, hold people accountable, and offer all the training, coaching, and everything that someone needs. We even take it as far as to partner in joint ventures in mortgage, title, insurance, and investing in the state that you live in. I don't know of another company like Elite Real Estate Systems that exists today, because we're not coming in to ask for 50% ownership of your company. We're not coming in and saying you have to give us the first $25,000 a year or $50,000 a year. You get to keep 100% of what you've already built for your real estate team or your real estate brokerage. We're just there to help add profit so that you can increase your wealth and we can build additional wealth together, and then ultimately enjoy that wealth by creating the freedom that we've always dreamed of. So for more information about Powered By ERS, or like we mentioned, team leader coaching or one-on-one coaching, go to growwithers.com. You can jump on a quick call with Logan Boyce, our director of sales, and find out more information about all three of those platforms. So what are some other value adds? I know culture was really big with 180. I know I always watched and always thought you guys were the cool kids on the block. You did a really great job, and I'll give Ben the props. He's very social. He's a high I. I'm sure on disc his number one is I. and Ben invested a couple, 20 or 30,000 on a trailer that he'll bring to tailgate events. So Nebraska Cornhuskers obviously is our team because we're in Nebraska, and he'll go down to Lincoln at all the home games, and he put the 180 logo all over the trailer, and now of course KW logo, and he lets anyone borrow, they can rent the trailer, and it's just fun. So like, you've done a really good job just taking the hobbies and the things that you enjoy and being able to recruit off of those things. And it's not even work. If people like, you're not even intentionally probably doing it, it just ends up being the consequences. People want to be in your world.
Yeah, I mean, I figured if I like to do it, I might as well do it and see if I can turn it into some kind of a business opportunity. I think one thing that you'll find out when agents join your team, or they're individual agents just paying the broker fees, they have a hard time justifying spending their own money, but they can spend somebody else's money, right? So by creating the trailer, or getting the trailer, getting the tailgate spot, it allowed us to bring all of our clients in a non-real estate related way and just hang out with them, get to know them, and the turnaround from that was huge. So I just continued to do it and continue to grow. And about 2 years ago, I added on the trailer, and it's been
a huge win,
even bigger and better.
And yeah. Ben and I are both big golfers, and Ben belongs to a really successful country club right by the office. It's a mile away. And every year we actually host an event to raise money for Sammy's Superheroes, which is a national nonprofit organization. And we've had a really great time doing that. It's fun. We get to go golf and host 100 plus real golfers. We call it a non-sellout golf event, meaning we don't go around like a lot of golf events and give people mulligans and everyone gets trash. We bring golfers. We play and we have fun. But a lot of agents and other companies watch this and they're like, we want to be, it's like special to get to come out to our golf event. We sold out the last 3 years.
Yeah, I would say in my past, I've probably played 200 golf tournaments in the last 7 years. I wanted to create a tournament that gave back to the community, but it also implemented a lot of the golf structure, and instead of just, some team shooting 24 under, 25 under, and, you're kind of
kicking the balls.
Yeah, you're like, there's no way.
Yeah.
But the partnership with Sammy Superheroes is near and dear, and so obviously that helps that we can support them. And then it really helps that we've gotten really good weather for the time that we have put it on. We've gotten so lucky. Yeah, and so at the end of the day, I think one other caveat that we always hate about scrambles is they last 6-7 hours. We've made it so that way there's only 25, 30 teams, and we can get through that really quick and easy. So again, great way to get your clients in front of you. And the best part about it, it costs you minimal dollars. You can
nothing if you get
sponsorships.
Right?
You can get support from various businesses around your local area that'll donate a $50 gift card here for some raffles. And then obviously giving back to the community. It's just...
The other thing I'd say on the golf event, and you could apply this strategy to a lot of other events, during the golf event, we'll usually find something that non-golfers would want to participate in. Either they can volunteer on the golf course to just drive around and give people waters, or we could do a wine tasting or whiskey tasting or any other type of event that kind of runs parallel. And then everyone is always invited afterwards for an after party where we sell raffles, and you can buy raffles before the event. You should sell raffles online if you're hosting a charity event. And then we sell raffles at the event, and then we open the raffles. And Ben's also really great at going around and getting donations for those raffle prizes. I think we usually give away like $5,000 in prizes. Will you share the link that we use for the event where they go out and like you can get hole-in-one insurance policies that like give away a $50,000 prize or a Tesla? What's that website?
It's called perfectgolfevent.com.
Perfectgolfevent.com if you guys want to host an event. And what do they do?
They charge 3% of your whole income. They only take the money for the actual golfing portion. So in our case, it was $200 a player. So we got 100 players. It's $20,000.
So at a normal course, we are at one of the nicest courses. I would say a normal course is going to be $100 a player or something like that.
They're going to take their 3% off the top, but they'll...
So $3.
Yeah, $3 for every $100, right?
Yep.
That's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
And then they're going to actually take the transaction, process it from the golfers, so you don't have to go around collecting money. They have insurance options in there, so when we give away our Tesla, we pay them an insurance premium. They'll back it up. And then they'll also send you signage of any sort. They're just putting the whole golf event together because at the end of the day,
it's not nearly as much work.
Yeah, that wasn't my forte.
Yep.
So.
Awesome. Well, Ben does a great job at 180, and one of the main reasons we wanted him to run KW is he's really great at hosting those events. That culture piece is big. One of the things we recognize that was running the brokerage is a lot of teams at the brokerage that were used to how I ran my real estate team as Omaha's leader. Ben ran his company at 180. A lot of people are like, well, hey, where are all the parties and where are all the freebies and where are all the giveaways and where are all the drinks and paid for dinners? When you're at a platform where you cap at $50,000 a year for mega teams or $12,000 a year, we're not spending as much money. We do provide a lot still. We have the most beautiful office that I've ever been to in the country. We also offer great support, contract to close, people, leads if people want to take leads, access to a CRM, and the list goes on and on and on. But we don't have as much to spend on all the agents at the brokerage like we used to as teams. So we're really excited as we continue to grow out Aksarben's Elite Real Estate Group because we can put a little bit more towards them. If anyone's listening though, and you ask yourself, like, why would someone start at 50-50 if you have a big sphere? You probably wouldn't. So that really is a dependent team. We expect that when agents are doing 30, 40, 50 deals a year at a 70-30 split, because at 24 deals, they'll hit the 70-30, we invite them to then leave that team to be at the brokerage as an indie or an interdependent agent paying the $1,000 a month. Mm-hmm. So at any point, agents can leave. They're not stuck forever as a dependent. And that's important to us too. From a growth standpoint, we want to help people get to the next level.
Yeah, I think that's the retain piece, right? So one of the things that happened with me with my former team was there wasn't really a retain there.
No progression.
It was basically you're stuck on these splits, and unless you want to sell more, then you're not going to make more. Yeah. So on the retain piece, having the brokerage as the background, we hope and are excited for all the agents that are on the in-house team to be able to grow to the point where they can either start and create their own team or go individual if that's what they choose to. Because, you and I had large teams, but not all teams need to be large teams. Teams come in all shapes and sizes. Yep. And obviously you can define what you would like your team to be. And so for most of those people, they'll see how a team grows and they'll see what they like and what they don't like. And then they can decide for themselves to say, hey, I want to do this, but I want to do it XYZ.
Yep, I've always talked about, and we actually talked before we started recording, about the three types of teams. There's a community team where you take like 3 or 4 people that produce and you share in overhead expenses, maybe sharing an office fee, maybe sharing your cap, maybe share for events, but you eat what you kill. You have the Rainmaker team, which typically the Rainmaker is doing half the deals on the team and all the other agents just kind of get the scraps. And I think that's how most teams are set up. And then you get the CEO team, which is how Ben and I ran our teams, where you ultimately don't sell or you don't sell very much, and your team can run with you only spending 5 or 10 hours a week on it. And so there's no right way. Some people think, oh, it's the CEO team's the right way. That's not true at all. Yeah. And I love that you make that point. The right way is to make more money in less time with less energy. And you can do that with all 3 of those types of teams. So it's for each person to decide what's the best fit for them. If you guys have found this information valuable, please go out to iTunes and give us a 5-star rating. Give Ben a shout out. Ben's done some really amazing things and has had a great career. And it's been great to be able to bring you on. And of course, you're here in our own backyard running our brokerage in Nebraska. If you are someone that wants to apply for a job with Aksarben's Elite Real Estate Group, we are hiring. It doesn't matter where you live in the country. We would hire you and have you travel to Omaha and move here. We would love to have you here, and I'm not joking. So if this is kind of something you've always wanted and you want to be a part of our world, go out to career.kwelite.com or careers. I think it's plural. Careers.kwelite.com. Find out more information. Ben's contact information is in there. Please don't inundate him with questions, but you can reach out to him if you have any questions. I think you guys will like it. We used ClickFunnels to create that landing page. Ben did a really good job setting that up as well so that people can go on and read an FAQ, watch videos on an FAQ, have a video of our office. So if you guys want some recruiting ideas, just careers.kwelite.com will be a great little nod. So Ben, any other final thoughts?
Go Big Red.
Let's go. We're going to win the whole championship next year, I think.
I'm drinking the Kool-Aid. I'm ready for Nebraska football to already be here, even though it just ended last week.
And it didn't end very excitingly.
No, we did not.
Our volleyball team's great, though. The basketball team just did really well.
Yep.
All right, guys. Well, thank you so much to our audience. You guys are awesome. Please continue to support Elite Real Estate Systems and the Team Building Podcast. Again, for more information, go to growwithers.com for all upcoming events. And until next time, appreciate you guys listening to the episode.